England is looking at getting rid of their health pass. They're looking to get rid of their vaccine passport system, which soon will be implemented. This is a huge shift in the narrative, as of course there's major scientific studies. There's a lot of information coming out that clearly is disrupting this entire official story of what they've been telling us from the very beginning. So this whole narrative is collapsing. There's a lot of important reasons to be extremely optimistic. I've been talking about this weeks ago. I'm saying with this latest variant, there's a big probability, even according to the World Health Organization that announced that this is going to be the end of COVID potentially in 2022. So there's a lot of mainline institutions, there's a lot of mainline doctors talking about what we were talking months ago, and there's this meme going around that I tweeted that specifically shows, the talking points that this administration and that these authorities had from the very beginning.
You die, but you go to heaven.
That said, 95% protection in May, June, 70% protection, August, no protection, but reduces spread. September doesn't reduce spread, but reduces severity. October doesn't reduce severity, but reduces hospitalizations. November doesn't reduce hospitalizations, but you aren't going to die. And then December, you die, but you go to heaven. So
that's a good one.
That's essentially,
it's a joke. YouTube, calm down. Everyone can go talk to their doctors about what's right.
Again, not a medical doctor, not here giving you any kind of medical advice. We're not here to do that. We're here to point out that there's elements of people making fun of what we've been told and exaggerating it, because it's already been exaggerated to such an extensive level that it's hard for people to pay attention to even what's going on.
Yeah, well, you said that in 2022 we might see the end of COVID, according to what?
The World Health Organization.
I would point out that maybe not the end of COVID, the end of COVID hysteria, but that the virus itself, I've heard that it supposedly will be endemic, meaning that we're just going to live with the coronavirus.
That's one theory out there. There's another theory that this latest variant is spreading so fast that it's going to create natural immunity. It's less severe. Less people are going to end up in the hospital. So everyone's going to get it because of how fast it spreads to everyone. And then essentially it will kind of die out and phase out from here because everyone will have immunity
or
from
just
it.
Live with us forever
and this
as
goes,
we're immune.
But when you look at coronaviruses, there's usually a specific trend of how they kind of operate, of how they infect people and how they stop infecting people based on those mutations. So if we're following the basic procedures of how previous coronavirus, SARS and MERS, have affected the world, it's logical to believe that this is going to happen here. Dr. Fauci has a different story saying there's going to be another variant that's going to be really bad, but of course he has an invested interest in keeping this storyline going because his entire career is made on the severity of this sickness. So obviously has a conflict of interest. Again, these are some of the debates happening within the scientific community that I think are extremely important right now, and I think are important to pay attention to, because if this is the case, there's going to be some significant political changes in our society when we come to the end of this and people feel bamboozled and lied to about everything. So this is something that we need to understand politically, socially, and economically, because the effects of this are going to be with us for years to come after this.
I hope that we can, as a species, learn to kind of live maybe in a more coherent manner with viruses in general. I just looked it up. 380 trillion viruses inside of the human body. Yeah. 380 trillion.
Wild.
How many of those are hurting us? Hardly any of them, if any of them. They live in symbiosis with us. That's the point. So I don't see why that can't happen with corona. In fact, it looks like we're on track as you see the different variants appear.
The most successful viruses you don't even know you have.
Yeah.
They sit in your body, they do virus stuff, but they don't cause enough problems for you to actually care about it.
I would imagine that some of them help you. I got to go deeper into it or get a virologist on the show or something.
There's that one parasite that makes you love cats.
Oh, yes. Toxoplasmosis,
yes.
Which a lot of people in Brazil have. There's a fascinating video of Rogan talking to Alex Jones about it, and they go off. I don't know if that video clip is still on YouTube, but it is terrifying to find out about the effects of toxoplasmosis.
Well, it makes some people get schizophrenia.
It literally creates the crazy cat lady syndrome. Like the basic stereotypical understanding of a crazy cat lady, obsessive, loving of her cats. This is something that, of course, cats have as a mechanism for their survival when they kind of have this virus that's in poop that makes rats love them. So there's elements of this, according to some medical studies, highlighting how there's similar effects on the human brain that cause women and men to be impulsive, causes them to also be affected by this in a very negative state. But again, viruses are something that we have been dealing with from the beginning of humanity. It's something that, of course, is not going away. And I think there's a lot of important learning lessons from everything that happened within the last 2 years that we should really learn from and not repeat those mistakes that were made.
I remember when I was growing up, I had a lot of important learning lessons.
Like, what was the most important one?
The most important learning lesson?
Yes.
Oh, just, reading about the history of World War II. Learning lessons were really important for me as a kid. Ian, did you experience learning lessons?
Yeah, I learned a lot of lessons.
Is learning lessons another Lukeism? Yeah.
You didn't even know it was a Lukeism. That's why I was saying.
I didn't know. It's a learning lesson. What? You have a lesson and you learn from it.
I like it.
Listen, I'm going to make up all the words I want to make up, okay? It makes sense. You guys know exactly what I'm saying. And I might even make my own learning lessons about this.
Make your own dictionary.
Well, speaking of learning lesson, if we're going to move on, I just want to say before that, I think this all started because of a comment that said it's cynical to talk about how everything's falling apart. But speaking of lessons in history, I just want to point out I do see how it can sound cynical and it can often be depressing. And there is often a sense of hopelessness. But if you do look at history, regimes fall. People resist. Like, I'm sure there are some exceptions to this. I don't want to say always, but the grand scheme of history and all of the empires and all of the authoritarians who've ruled over people, eventually it falls.
All empires collapse.
That I think so. I know China's still going pretty strong, but how long have they actually been in power?
Yeah, 70 years.
It's true, but have they had mind control technology?
And artificial intelligence, which is going to be the next nuclear weapon. A lot of arguments against anarchists.
And mass surveillance.
Yep. A lot of arguments against anarchists in the Second Amendment is, are you going to allow people to have nuclear weapons? Well, literally, there's private individuals and corporations creating weapons that are even far more superior and more powerful than nuclear weapons. That specifically is artificial intelligence. And that's happening right now with collusion of the state.
Let me ask you, what's scarier for you? The fact that certain states have nuclear bombs, warheads, or the fact that private, unaccountable individuals can post your web browser history? I mean, I got to be honest, I'm not worried about nuclear war. You know what I mean? I'm honestly not super scared about, I don't like the spying or anything, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, look, people cheating on their wives is a good example. Yeah, Facebook knows if you're cheating on your wife. Young women who are pregnant don't want their parents to find out or their boyfriends to find out. Big tech knows all of that. And there was even, wasn't it like the NSA were tubing it to private photos?
Yep, NSA agents were caught lubing tubing it to people's private photos that they were sharing with their loved ones unsuspectingly. It's not like they published it. It was private messages between loved ones that the NSA intercepted and decided to entertain themselves with in many unspeakable ways. Family-friendly show. You get the gist of what I'm trying to say here.
How did they get caught? Did someone kick the door, walked in, and they're like, what?
I don't remember the exact details of this, but this was a mainline story even before Edward Snowden came out saying, hey, the NSA are doing this. This is how they caught. TSA agents also have an extremely horrible record of abusing their power with individuals that they have to engage with and act with. But I think you were talking about a lot of those stories, Carey, when you were working in alternative media, specifically the stories that have been significantly underplayed but are significant to our way of life. Which one was, do you think, in your opinion, one of the most kind of egregious ones when it comes to government abuse of power?
Abuse of power in general or surveillance?
Both.
Well, I mean, obviously what Snowden cracked open with all of his I don't even want to say leaks because he was so careful about releasing it, but nonetheless, I'm actually looking it up, and apparently it was Snowden who said that the NSA would intercept nude pics.
Yes,
So,
yes, he said that. He confirmed it, but there was
Right.
even before that.
Oh, it was even before then. Okay.
Mainline articles talking about this,
Okay.
which, again, is just, I mean, imagine.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.